Hey, what's up? It's Josh Todd from Buckcherry, and you're watching CMS TV. Check it out.
From the Up From the Ashes release, that's Don Dokken with Give It Up, featuring Mickey D on drums. And just before that, we heard Scorpions from their latest release with Knock 'Em Dead, also featuring Mickey D on drums. And
that's right.
So you had an opportunity to interview the great legendary Mickey D of Motorhead, Scorpions, King Diamond, Don Dokken Band.
Yeah.
You guys been around.
It was my second time ever interviewing Mickey, and you know what? I was excited as a school kid as always. I'll tell you how excited I was. The only time I could do it was 6 a.m. and I was volunteered to do it. Broken arm, broken time schedule. I just did not give a shit. It was Mickey D, and I was not going to miss that. So
I can't say that I blame you. I've never had the opportunity.
He's great. He's such a he's what you'd expect from a guy from Motorhead for 30 years. He says what he thinks and he does not give a shit. And was a great talk. It for people that want to hear the whole interview, it drops on Tuesday. It'll hit the podcasting networks on Tuesday. But I did want to bring some of it here because he said some things that I thought were would be very interesting to the CMS folks.
Okay.
So obviously Mickey has they have a new release called Bad Magic, and the new version is called Seriously Bad Magic.
Okay.
And I we were talking about it for a little bit, and I mean it took no time before Mickey just got fucking annoyed. Not at me, but at the people that he sees online. He is a student of the school of Neely. He fucking hates the people on social media.
And I can't blame him.
Not at all. But apparently, and maybe in some ways rightly so. I don't know. It just depends on how you look at it. Mickey and Phil Campbell have been accused a lot of reissuing these Motorhead things as just cash grabs, just cashing in on the legacy of Motorhead.
Okay.
So, I really didn't ask him that. I asked him how these came to be. If it was kind of him and Phil sitting down and saying, hey, we've got these tracks, we've got this live show, let's put it out. Or if it was record company people that come to him and pitch it to him or what have you. My basic question was, how does this one and the other ones that have come out come to be? And he started answering, but then he just got into haters online that are calling it a cash grab or whatever. And he completely straight up said, if you don't like it, don't listen, fuck off.
Right, of course.
He just launched. So here's a little bit of the interview. This is Mickey D talking about the haters online.
Okay.
Show was different. And that's what I don't think the casual fan understands. Yeah, a lot of the songs were the same, but every show that you guys did came with a different energy, a different power, a different, vibe to it. Just even me just seeing the band, numerous times, every show felt different. And I think that comes through with the way you guys have released the live things, no?
I think so, because it's just, we just don't want to give up Motorhead. Mm-hmm. And we know that our real fans out there feel the same way, When we are long gone, I still think Motorhead will be active, for 50 more years.
Sure.
We are just prolonging Lemmy's dream and the Motorhead era. And and try to keep it in the loop still. I mean, we're getting front pages of the biggest rock I just had 13 pages in Sweden Rock Magazine.
Wow.
They wanted to do 4 or 3, and it turned out to be 13.
Wow.
So has nothing to do with money. We're making nothing of this, really. It's just a gift that we feel that we can give our real fans, and it feels great to do. So I'm gonna say shame on you guys that are these fellas that just doesn't have the common sense to see the big picture in this, you know. They stop listening to us as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Hate us as much as you want and fuck off, basically.
Right. I hear you, man. So, that's pretty blatant, right?
Well, I like it.
I like it too. He just does not give any fucks.
I mean, you know, the thing is that Lemmy and Motorhead and the members of Motorhead just embodied that whole don't give a shit attitude. And you know, if more people would adopt that and take that stance, and it's like, I don't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah.
You know? It's like I'm just staying true to myself. You know? And you and I are no stranger to that. I mean, you and I take criticisms all the time.
All the time.
All the time. You know, I don't get on social media and stuff, but I've seen comments here and there about myself or yourself, and ooh, I hate this and I don't like that, and this guy's, you know, this guy's full of himself, and this guy, you know, whatever. And it's just like, and then there's other people are just like, man, I like what you guys do. So it's like there's not pleasing anyone.
No, there's not.
And the thing is that these guys, the Motorhead guys, walk their own path. What they did was not groundbreaking. What they did was not trendy in any way, shape, or form. If you went to see Motorhead, it's like AC/DC. When you go see AC/DC, you know what you're getting. And it's like, well, you know, you guys should change up a little more, and maybe you should add some orchestration, or maybe add some keyboards and shit like that. And it's like, that's not what AC/DC does, you know.
Right.
Same with Motorhead. It's just like, we're Motorhead. This is what we do. You know,
and to say that it's a cash grab because they're releasing songs that weren't issued before and concerts that were not out there before. First of all, if you're a fan of Motorhead, and again, for some bands it is a cash grab. I'm not going to lie. For some bands, it's totally a cash grab. You reissue the thing, you throw a live show on it, and you call it a thing. But Motorhead was all about the live show, you know, and each tour had its own little differences, its own different tunes, its own different feel to it. And if you go all the way through the Motorhead catalog, they might have the record even beating Iron Maiden for the most live music that they've put out, because that's what Motorhead does. You know, Motorhead always puts out records and then they put out live records behind it. That's what they've always done.
Yeah, I agree.
So just because Lemmy's dead doesn't necessarily mean that when a record comes out that it wouldn't be put out the same way.
And here's the thing that a lot of fans don't understand is that the members of Motorhead, or the Motorhead entity, doesn't necessarily have control over their catalog. And
True.
if some record label buys the rights or buys the licensing, or, you know, somehow, some way, they decide that they're going to release a thing, you know, a retrospective or a greatest hits, or, you know, whatever, they're going to do it regardless of the blessing of the band or not.
Correct.
And a lot of the time, these record labels will engage the members of the band or the entity known as Motorhead, or whatever the case may be, and go, hey, we have the rights to this box set, or we have the rights to this performance or this music, or whatever, and we're going to release it. If you want to be involved, we would maybe like some liner notes from you. Maybe we would like your endorsement. Maybe we would like your involvement to promote it. And for that, we might be able to throw you a couple shekels or whatever,
Mhm.
but we're going to release it regardless.
Yeah, and you heard Mickey right there say he ain't getting nothing from
Yeah,
it.
so it's just like this is going out there
Mhm.
regardless if we're involved or not.
Yeah.
So let's make it legitimate and let's be a part of the Motorhead legacy and go, yeah, instead of taking this attitude, it's like, yeah, fuck that. We're not part of that. Don't buy it. I mean, we've seen that happen in the past.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, this isn't a legitimate release. This is some fucking, scam artist who got the rights to the songs or licensed this stuff and they're releasing it. Remember what was it? Koch Records, however you pronounce
Koch Records, yeah.
Remember they used to re-release a lot of shit.
Yeah, they did.
But they just bought the rights. Remember I remember prior to it being removed altogether, but they bought the Badlands.
Yeah.
Remember? Badlands got re-released on Koch Records.
Right.
And they were doing a lot of those, but the band had nothing to do with it. And we know for a fact that the relatives of Ray Gillen didn't like it.
Well, yeah, it's funny you bring this up because I actually got into a little Facebook skirmish this week with Greg Chason of Badlands about this exact thing. About this exact issue. Mark Striegel posted on his page about that there were rumors out there and it was all lies and blah 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 about why those records are not available.
Okay.
Something to that effect. And I posted back, I said, well, it's because the label was threatened that if they put it out that they'd be sued by the victims, the people that were raised victims. And Chason came on and said, well, Jake never said that. So I pulled my quote from my interview with him when he said it.
Yeah.
And we got into a semantics argument.
Okay.
Because it was one of those things that I asked Jake, the question I asked Jake specifically was, why can't I go into a store and buy this?
Right.
Jake's answer was, I don't know, but I've heard that the families threatened the record company and therefore they're not putting it out.
Sure.
Now, is that Jake? Now, I didn't offer that rumor. Jake did.
Yeah, he answered your question. You say, is it true that the family said this? No, he offered that up.
Right.
Okay,
And it was.
Can we safely say that Badlands is the first band that actually got canceled?
Might very well be. But my point to him was, I didn't say this rumor. And by him saying Jake heard that, I don't think that Jake heard that from some fan on a message board.
Right.
I think Jake probably heard it. And again, this part is me guessing. But I'm guessing for Jake to offer that opinion,
he has some knowledge about it.
Because he had some conversation with somebody at WIA that about either getting the rights back to those two records or them reissuing them or something and them saying, no, here's why. Now that's my assumption.
Right. But I don't think he would have just flippantly made that statement from the hip.
No, not at all.
Some previous knowledge of potential lawsuits or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you didn't lead him into giving you that answer. He just said that answer.
Yeah. I mean, I did not lead him at all into the answer. I'm trying to find it real quick because I of course immediately, once I saw that it was going to do something, I immediately turned it into a what do you call it, a TikTok or something, and just threw it up there.
Right. Look at the classic metal show just stirring up the pot.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's stirring up the pot when they're saying that I'm lying because I don't like. I don't like to be told that I'm a liar.
I remember when that happened and when that was said, and now that it's years gone by, our good friend Jizzy Pearl was the one who turned us on to some of the shenanigans that was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Remember, he kind of took us into his confidence and said, well, don't say this on the air, but.
Yeah.
And
we're saying on the air.
he told us years before it was revealed what the what do you want to call the I don't want to call it a controversy. It wasn't a controversy. It was
just a situation
that was kind of known among the rock community, but nobody would talk about it because it was kind of a heinous thing to do.
Yeah. Well, it was. It's a bad thing as far as, that it happened and all that stuff, but it's, it is what happened.
And again, this was the first time you and I were made aware of it, but we didn't talk about it because our friend Jizzy said, don't talk about this, but this is what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
He would know because he and his love-hate bandmates were hanging out at the Rainbow, which is where most of the rockers kind of commingled and hung out, and discussions were had.
Yeah. So I can't find it, but it's out there. If people want to hear it, it's just look up Classic Metal Show Jakey Lee. It's from 2018. But but needless to say, myself and Greg Chason of the band got into a semantics battle and then him and Mark both, came at me, which is fine. I don't care. We don't agree. That's fine.
You didn't whine at Mark and go, I thought you were my friend.
No, not at all. I wrote in it's a different Chris Aiken now. Instead of just going crazy, I was like, look, I'm not trying to get into a pissing contest here. I love the records.
Listen, I've got the audio proof here. You make of it what you will. I'm just telling you what was portrayed to me. Okay. Yeah. And if you disagree all you want, but I still have the audio. I have it right here. And it's not AI, God damn it.
Oh, it's definitely not.
I didn't AI Jakey Lee's voice. This is actually him talking to me, telling me what he said.
Yeah, here. I can play it from the interview itself. Hold on. There's 21. All right, let's see. Let's pull this up so I can show you this, because it was funny that it turned into like a back and forth. And again, you know what? I mean, I don't think I'm wrong. And to be honest, I don't think that Chason's wrong. I mean, technically, no, Jake did not confirm anything. He just said he heard a rumor. Yeah, so
but the thing is, he offered that.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I want to get to.
He offered that up as his explanation.
Yeah.
And it came from a guy who was,
is the guy.
Is the guy. So when are you going to go, oh, you're fucking full of shit, Jakey?
Yeah. No, I'm full of shit for offering it, for actually saying that it was true.
Right.
That's what was being said by Mark and by Chason, was that I'm full of shit.
Oh, really?
Because I offered this audio and I didn't listen to my own audio.
Oh, really? You didn't?
So let's listen to it. Maybe they're right.
Well, let's give it a listen. Let's put it out to the court of public opinion.
Yeah, let's put it out there. So here we go. Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, I just, as a fan, Badlands is one of my top 5 bands ever. And I'll just tell you that loudly and proudly. I play those records pretty much every week. It's one of the 3 records gets played. And it was very frustrating as a fan. We finally get you to come back after 20 whatever years, and then it was like this, then this, then this, then this. It was like, God damn it. Why is this happening?
This is leading up to it. Hold on.
Yeah. Well, Badlands one of my top 5 bands too.
Sure. Well, let me ask you the lone Badlands question. And it's one that I'm sure you've answered 100 times, but I need to ask it. Why can't I go to a store and buy those records? That's my question.
Yeah.
Is there any leading at all in that?
He did not say, this is what I heard.
No.
You just asked flat out, how come I can't go and buy this record?
Simple question. Now here's Jake's answer that caused the stir online with Mark and with Greg from Badlands this week.
You know, I I don't know. I really don't know. I've heard I don't know, because there is a certain demand for them, and I've heard rumors that because Ray might have exposed
Right.
a large part of the female population,
Right.
uh,
To the HIV or whatever. Right.
yeah, that they have some sort of a coalition where if Badlands was to make any money for anybody, they would sue.
Oh.
I've heard that.
Right.
It doesn't seem feasible. I mean, at most they could possibly sue his portion of it, and even then, I would think he'd kind of have to prove that if you'd gotten sick, that it was because of Ray.
Right.
You know, so it doesn't sound like something that could happen, but that's the only reason I've heard really so far as to why you can't. I don't know why you can't. It kind of pisses me off. I mean, on my phone, I don't have any. I do have a third one. For some reason, you can download that, but I don't have the first two records on my phone, and it's someday I should probably look into it.
Sure.
Actually,
now does that okay? And it goes on from there, but
here's the thing: he did not give you a definitive answer. He was stumbling all over the place because he did not want to make some definitive statement about it. And and from what I'm gathering from hearing him and haw and stumble and try to use the proper terminology and words, he knows what the reason is.
Of course.
And he is giving a very nondescript answer. And he doesn't want to be culpable of making some kind of a statement.
It's the whole saying it without saying it thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how I gather, because if he just blurted out the statement, because I've heard it Jakey's interviews, he does that question right there caused him to have to really think carefully about the words he was going to choose.
Sure.
And the fact is that since you just played the interview and you verbalized it for him as to what the issue was, because I like what he said, female complainants or whatever, what he just said. We were told years before this that Ray was banging chicks bareback
after he knew he had HIV.
And didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. Now we don't know if that's true or not either, to be honest. We don't
told that. And we were just like, what?
Yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, that's what was going on, or that's what we were, everyone was discussing and blah, blah, blah. And it was just like, yeah, just don't make that part of your show. And we said, okay, we won't say anything, but holy shit. Are you shitting me?
Well, and we never talked about it until we heard it from other places.
Yeah, of course.
And now it's sort of common, uncommon knowledge.
But you got a question though.
Yeah.
How come you can't buy these Badland records? I mean, fortunately I had them when they came out.
Yeah.
And I have a hard copy on my shelf back here, and I got the MP3s and everything else. But but regardless, you can't just go buy a Badlands record if you wanted it.
And Jake's answer, and again, I'm not trying to get into a pissing contest with
No.
Jakey Lee or Greg Chason or anybody else. But if Jake really didn't want that out there, Jake could have easily just said, it's a licensing issue. I don't know if it's ever going to get fixed.
Right, of course.
End of discussion. I don't have anywhere to go from there other than, well, I've heard that. And then it's on me.
Yeah, because it's just like your input is unsubstantiated.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, I don't know. I mean, you're the guy in the band. You would know.
Mm-hmm. And I'm quite sure he does know. I'm quite sure the fact that he said that it pisses him off that they're not out there. Yeah. He's asked the question to the right people.
Of course.
I'm sure this rumor that he's heard didn't come from, Badlands 384 in the chat room. I'm quite sure it came from somebody in fucking, publishing and distribution from Warner Electro Atlantic.
And what I find funny about what he just said in that interview, and this obviously this was 5 years ago,
right?
But what I found funny is that he talks about I don't have the first two on my phone. And it's like you don't own the first two that you can't rip and upload to your phone.
Knowing these musicians, he might not know how.
Well, again, but this goes back to where the fact that I had to give Don the whole Dokken catalog because he didn't have it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these guys don't.
Yeah, it's just like it's so weird to me that you are part of this band and you did this body of work and that you don't even have a copy of it.
Yeah, yes and no. Like, I don't have every copy of Music's Bottom Line.
I got a fair amount of them.
I have a few. I mean, I have the first one that's in a frame.
Right.
And I have some that were like special to me.
Well, didn't Chris Wicks give you a bunch?
He gave me some. Yeah, and I have them. They're in a filing cabinet.
Yeah, and I have a bunch in a box.
I guarantee you have more than I do.
Okay.
I probably have maybe 15, and probably 13 of them came from Chris Wicks.
Okay. Fair enough.
I kept there was like two that I kept three. I know for a fact I kept three. I kept the interview with Peter Criss, because that was by far the biggest thing I had ever done at that point. And I kept Shania Twain when I chatted with Shania, and I kept the first one.
All right.
And the rest of them, not so much.
The only reason you kept the Shania Twain was because you wanted to bang her.
Oh, did I ever?
That's
my
all.
My goodness, yes.
I'm your wife, and you should be looking at women with like that with impure thoughts.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, she got to see my unpure fucking jaw hitting the ground when I was talking to her in person. She got to sit right next to me while I was like, "You're pretty."
Can I be your boyfriend?
Can I walk behind you for the rest of forever?
Right.
Yeah, she's a pretty girl. She definitely was jaw-dropping beautiful.
Yeah.
No doubt. She still looks pretty good. New album's actually okay, too.
I wouldn't know.
I know you have no idea, but I love Shania. She's fantastic. But anyway, yeah, so that was kind of that this is what happens when I'm sitting at home with nothing to do. I get into fucking Facebook fights again.
I mean, again, is it nothing to do, or it's just like, dude, don't call my integrity into question. I did this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could have just not responded in the first place.
That part is true. I get that.
I could have just been like, oh, that's a dumb thing to say, and left it alone. But
here's the thing, though, is that you and I, we have almost a 30-year legacy in this, and again, this is just subjective, this business.
Sure.
And you've done a 1,000 interviews, if not
Easy.
more. And I've done hundreds of interviews when I had the opportunity, but
sure.
Regardless of that, I don't want to, and I don't want to say this in a look at me attitude. It's just like, I've got the work behind me.
Yeah.
I'm a credible source.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going, oh, well, I'm making shit up to make myself look bigger. It's just like, I have an archive. I've got an archive of shit that goes on for days.
And that's why I threw it up there when
Of course, as you should.
When it was put to me, where did he say that? I was like, right here, 2105 in this interview. Click. And then it was, well, he even says in his own interview that it's a rumor. I'm like, all right. So that I can offer no subjectiveness to this.
Yeah, he said
statement.
that to protect his statement.
Yeah, and fair enough.
That's how people use the term. Well, allegedly.
Yeah. And fair enough. Fair enough. He did not say this is what happened.
No.
I agree with that. He did not say that.
No, he did not say that. But that's like people framing everything with alleged.
Mm-hmm.
Well, allegedly, this guy said blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
When in fact they really did.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is litigious these days, and it's just like, I can't like make a definitive statement, so I'll sort of like dance around it and kind of skip it. But I'm just kind of gonna give you the skeletal version of it, and you make of it what you will. But I can't really say. But I'm gonna say it with it, like you said. I'm gonna say it without saying.
Yeah. And let's be honest. The fact that Jake offered the rumor that we, me and you, have now had substantiated by both multiple band guys from that era, from LA.
Yes.
As well as people that work or worked at WIA that have told us. I mean, we've had I'm going to say 10 to 15 different people that have told us that story that Jake told us, that Jake told me, that exact story. Is it too far of a reach to say, well, maybe Jake's admitting something here without necessarily admitting something here?
True.
I don't think it's that much. Yeah. Did I assume something a little bit? Yes, I did.
But you didn't ask the question in an assumptive way.
Yeah, I mean, Jake could have easily said, you know what? The reason that those aren't out there is because the tracks went bad or burned up in that fire that burned all those albums up or whatever. Anything else. And he would have taken me off of that where I could question it. But he didn't. He offered the rumor. And when you start talking about consortiums of people that are forming class action lawsuits, I don't think that's a rumor that came from fucking, Winner's Call 831. I think that came from somewhere legitimate.
Right.
That's just my guess, but anyway.
All right. Continue on with Mickey D.
All right. So the other piece.
I mean to veer off on the bad ones, but it just kind of reminded me of that whole thing.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So the other thing with Mickey D, for people that are unaware, which is probably few in this audience, but for the few that are unaware, Mickey, since leaving Motorhead or since Motorhead retired, has joined Scorpions. And he is now the full-time drummer in Scorpions.
Yeah, he took over James Kotak.
Yes.
Who had some issues.
Mm-hmm. So I asked Mickey about if it was a tough transition to go from Motorhead, which is one style of music,
a thrashy, punky style of music,
to a more
melodic
and definitely a more structured band in Scorpions, especially in the live show. Scorpions way more structured than Motorhead, as Mickey will get into here talking about it. But I asked him about that. And the reason I bring this up is not only is it a kind of a cool story, but I know he also references that it's not the first time that he's done this. And he talks about when he transitioned from King Diamond to Don Dokken.
Sure.
So here is Mickey D talking about going to Scorpions, and if he even had to try out for Scorpions, or if he was just brought in, or how that all came. I found this to be interesting, so check it out. Nervous when you got the call to, I don't even know, did you just get the call to be the guy, or did you have to go and try out, or how did that work?
I was called in to be a stand-in.
Okay.
James was struggling a little bit with his health, and they just needed someone to come in and be a backup, basically. I was on the bench, and that was great. So, no, I wasn't nervous when we actually decided what to do. I saw it more as a challenge.
Okay.
With Motorhead, in the end, a lot of it was routine, and we had a very small framework to work within, which was great with Motorhead. But this was a new challenge for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was tasting it a little bit when I played with Dawkins, with Don, you know.
Sure.
Before Motorhead, coming from King Diamond into very straight ahead
4/4, yeah.
West Coast rock kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge transition, and then equally huge transition to go to Motorhead
Right.
from Don, because I felt that I belonged in the heavier division. Motorhead was perfect, and now coming into Scorpions, I feel just right at home, you know.
Sure. Definitely.
And when I do my drum solo and stuff, I get so much out of. I don't need to sit there and show off, and I don't need to be the best drummer in the world, or you know, or I'm just a very good drummer. I'm a decent drummer. I think I played better than ever, and I want to create a good show with the 5 of us. That's it, you know.
Right. So there you go.
I like how he, I'm a decent drummer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, he's okay. All right. Jesus, he's literally, even when I posted a little clip, just a picture of me with Mickey D the other day on one of the pages, immediately somebody's like, best drummer in the world.
Yeah.
He's a great drummer.
Well, that's like Evel Knievel saying, yeah, I'm an okay Daredevil.
Yeah, I ride a motorcycle all right.
Yeah, I'm okay, stunt man. I'm all right.
Yeah. But I just found that interesting with Mickey D, that, and he told me after the interview was over that I was the first one that ever asked him if he had to audition for anything.
No, whatever.
I just didn't know. I didn't know. I mean,
why would you know?
I would think he wouldn't have to, but
I mean, but the thing is that, Scorpions is a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a reputation. I mean, they got almost a 60-year legacy.
Sure.
And for them to go, well, James is having some issues. I like the fact that they say some health issues.
They all keep saying, dude, there must be something health-wise as well as pills or drugs or whatever wise, because when I chatted with Keith St. John from Kingdom Come, he said the same thing. He said, well, James is having some health issues.
But nobody ever wants to talk about substance abuse.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Why he's having some health issues? It's like, come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Getting arrested on flights to the Arab Emirates and being drunk, and this isn't a health issue. This is a behavioral issue.
Yeah. And maybe it started as a health issue. I'm not going to try and defend James Kotak, but
what I'm trying to say is everybody always minces words all the time.
Well, nobody wants to say, hey, yeah, my friend's an addict.
I mean, this goes back to early on, way back in the mid 2000s when Midnight from Crimson Glory died, and we said that he drank himself to death, and how much outrage.
Oh yeah, people were mad.
Oh, just how outraged people were.
How dare you say such a thing?
I know.
Meanwhile, it was true.
It's like, Don't you talk about Midnight. He was the greatest ever.
He's an icon and a legend.
Yeah. Nobody talks about Midnight today.
Yeah, no one. No
No.
one's talking about Crimson Glory at all anymore.
Not at all. Not that they're not a great band or
No.
what they put out was great, but still, we made the blatant statement. It's like the guy drank himself. Fuck you! It's like, shut up.
Dude, there's people that get mad when we talk about Janie Lane drinking himself to death. And that's an even more well-known story. That guy taped a note to his shirt or whatever that said, "Hey, I'm Janie Lane."
Yeah. If you find me dead and drunk, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. So, you can't say anything. You can't say anything about anybody's heroes. That's really what it comes down to.
I know, but
Everybody's out to protect their hero.
Well, regardless of the protection, nobody wants to admit that they have what do you want to call self-control or discipline or behavioral issues.
Sure.
It's always got to be blamed on something else. And it's just like, stop it already. Just own it.
Yeah.
Just own it.
Oh, I agree, but they're never going to. It's never going to happen. James Kotek is going to have fucking health issues until he emerges.
Yeah, again, and James Kotek, I got to be honest with you, the guy has been very, very friendly toward me.
Sure, nice guy.
In the show, and
we have nothing against him.
No, I've invited him on the show as recently as Christmas. He hit me up on my LinkedIn page.
Right.
Which I don't visit that often, but he sent me a happy birthday wish.
Yeah.
And I threw him hey, if you ever want to come on the show and promote anything, or if you just want to be a guest, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, and he would have fun coming on and talking politics and stuff too, because he and you are very well aligned in that area.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He would be a fun guest, but he's got those health issues, Neil. He prevents him from getting in front of a camera, I guess.
He's dealing with his health issues.
Yeah, he's dealing with his health issues. So anyway, that's what's going on. If people want to hear that whole interview, I did like 35 minutes with Mickey D, which was fantastic. I wish the audio was a little better. His audio had that popping in it.
Yeah. So did you have a hankering for a Big Mac after you were done talking?
Breakfast sandwich, because it was morning. It was 6 a.m. when I did the interview.
Did you have the sausage burritos?
I wish I could have. Unfortunately, I'm still not to the point where I'm feeling comfortable driving a car because I don't feel like I can.
Well, you got a son living in your house there. And send his.
He ain't up. Dude, he goes to bed at fucking 4 in the morning. He ain't getting up at 6.
I need a breakfast burrito. I just got done talking to Mickey D, and I was thinking breakfast burritos and hot sauce sounds pretty damn good right now.
I guess I could have called DoorDash and paid $55 for it.
Nice.
What a scam that DoorDash is.
I have no idea.
Oh, it's fucking ridiculously priced.
No idea.
Well, they mark it up 30% because DoorDash marks it up. DoorDash takes 30% off of the companies.
Sure.
So they mark it up 30%. Plus then there's a delivery fee. Plus then there's a tip.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got to get a taste.
Yeah. It's way too expensive these days.
I couldn't even tell you the last time I had any food delivered here. I don't think I've had a pizza delivered in probably a decade.
Yeah, but you don't let anybody into your estate.
No, I don't. I don't. But if I haven't had a pizza in a while either, but if I ever do, I just go get it myself. I just go pick it up.
Well, this fat guy will be having a pizza tomorrow when I watch AEW Revolution, the new AEW pay-per-view.
Nice.